Today's class is on the spring equinox theme and this obviously celebrates the change of seasons, which brings up lots of changes within us as the seasons change and the various doshas become more prominent, the elements become more prominent. So this would be the growth season, and with that, often things can show up at the joints, stiffness as we move from winter into the spring, and everything just moves. So let's start with the movement, going from side to side. Reflecting all the energies and all the elements associated with those energies. Each system is slightly different, so you've got the commonalities of some elements, but for instance in the Chinese calendar you've got the element of wood and metal, which is not necessarily so reflected in the Ayurvedic world, but nevertheless they reflect all energies. So this is like a universal movement. And just coming to slow your movement down. And come to standstill. Lift and roll your shoulders. This releases energy from the shoulder. It allows energy to flow up through the spine, through the neck into the head. So it's very good for clearing our energies. And just gently turn your head from the left to the right. If you've gone the other way, it doesn't matter. And again, turn your head from side to side. And then lift and roll your shoulders. Breathing in, raise your right arm. Stretch up, and then breathing out, lower your arm back down alongside you. Again, it's stretching, it's an extension, raising your left arm as you stretch up, breathe out, breathe in and stretch again, and breathing out, lower your arm back down alongside you. Breathing in, raise your right arm again. Breathe out, turn your head away from your right arm to the left. Breathe into the centre, and breathing out, lower your right arm. And breathing in, raise your left arm. Breathe out, turn your head to the right, away from the left arm. Breathing into the centre, and breathing out, lower your left arm. Lift and roll both shoulders. Breathing in, raising your arms up, clasping them, reverse. Lift the palms up to the ceiling and breathing out, move to one side. I'm moving to my left. Breathing in, come to the centre, and breathing out, go to the right. Feel that your body is between two panes of glass, so that you're not twisting so much. Come up to the centre, and now keeping yourself upright, just turn to the left. Come to the centre, and turn to the right. As little or as much as you feel comfortable to turn. And come to the centre. Just lift your heels and test your balance, as I instantly come down. And then breathing out, lower your heels back down to the floor and release your hands, bringing your arms outwards at shoulder height. Turn your head to the left, looking over the left fingers, particularly the third finger of the left hand. Breathe in as you come to the centre, and then breathe out as you turn your head to the right, looking beyond the third fingers of the right hand. Come to the centre. Just explore your arm movement as you turn your palms upwards and even your little fingers backwards. And then lower your palms downwards and lower your arms, they've been up for a long time, as you lift and roll your shoulders backwards. Holding your waist, this is a variation on chair pose. Bend your knees, your bottom goes behind you, and in bending your knees you're activating your core. Take an in and an out breath. You can either look up or you might prefer to keep the back of your neck long and look down on the floor. Pressing your feet into the ground to roll up to standing. And as you lift and roll your shoulders, clasp your hands behind you, aiming your knuckles towards the floor, and this opens you out at the shoulders, which you've also got your lung meridians in the shoulder area. So this stretches your lungs, it stretches your heart as well, and it's an uplifting movement. Just turn to the left, come to the centre, and turn very slightly to the right, and come to the centre. And then just release your hands, and lift and roll your shoulders as you slide your hands down your legs to your shins. Press your hands into your shins as you lengthen from the tailbone to the top of the head. And breathing out, bend your knees and bend your elbows as you come forward. Breathing in, press your hands on your shins again. And stay here as you breathe out. And as you breathe in, bend your knees, press your feet into the ground, and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And then raising your hands up to the ceiling. Just join thumbs and sway very gently from side to side. Come to the centre and lower your hands back down alongside you. And lift and roll your shoulders. Once more, circle your hands up, clasp them, reverse your hands upwards, and once more come to the left in a lateral stretch. You can stay static or just bounce a little bit. Come to the centre, stretch up, and come to the other side, just lateral, bounce or static. Come to the centre. Turn to the left, a rotational movement. Come to the centre and turn to the right, a rotational movement. Come to the centre. Lower your hands, palms down, turn down, and then carry on lowering your hands. You might want to step your feet out a little bit as you bend your knees and come to have the palms of your hands just off the ground. You're in a forward bend. Lower your head. Turn your palms over your left foot as you turn to the left. Come to the centre and then turn your hands over your right foot. Come to the centre. And then separate your hands and hold behind your calves, pulling yourself in, almost like a skiing position. And then release your hands from behind your calves, place your fingers on the ground. You might want to have your feet a little bit wider as you come into a squat. It can be a high squat or it can be a low squat, entirely dependent on your capacity. And as you squat, just feel the lower back releasing. Just take an in and an out breath here. And then gently pressing your feet down to bring yourself up again into a forward bend. Bring your feet to parallel if you've opened them out. And then soften your knees and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing again. and lifting and rolling your shoulders. Breathing in, raising your hands up. Breathing out, lowering your hands back down alongside you. Breathing in, raising your hands up, palms touch. Breathing out, lower your hands in front of you, palms are still touching. Breathing out, bend your elbows as you open your arms out to the side. Breathing out, bring your palms together. And then bend your elbows as you clasp your hands and reverse them, going upwards. Breathing out, lower your hands in front of you. Breathing in, bend your elbows and open your palms out to the side. You can feel the shoulder movement here. Bring your palms together. And then bend your elbows as you reverse your palms upwards. And just gently sway from side to side. Lower your palms. And make a ball, it doesn't matter which hand's on top. Leading with the elbow of the hand on top. So my right hand's on top because I'm right-handed. I naturally go that way. I'm going to turn to the left and then turn my ball upside down so that my left elbow is on the top and I come back to the centre and over to the other side. So you're turning from side to side, leading as you go with your elbow. You can begin to engage your heels and then lift them up if that helps as you go from side to side. It's a very subtle shift of the energies from left to right and right to left. So balancing your pelvis, but you're also beginning to balance the brain hemispheres. And this becomes both a breathwork movement and a mindfulness exercise, but it's rooted in, as I understand it, the Eastern practice of Tai Chi. This balance of our sides. And then come back to the centre. It doesn't matter which hand's on top. And then just release your hands. And circle your wrists one way. And then circle your wrists the other way. And for those of you who've been doing close work with your hands, stretching your fingers out and just curling them in can help to release energy in the fingers. Stretch out and just curl in. And then a further finger movement could be just to hold your thumb with one hand and pull your thumb, your second finger, your third, fourth and little finger and shake that hand out. And then to the other hand, holding the thumb, second finger, third, fourth, and little finger. So fingers can get trapped in the joints, and that's quite a way of just clearing out that stagnant energy. And then just get releasing and rolling your shoulders. Breathing in, raising your hands up, stretch up. Breathing out, lowering your hands back down alongside you. Breathing in, raising your hands up. Feel the stretch as you press your feet into the ground. Feel the stretch in your lower abdominal area. Breathing out, hands down. And breathing in, hands up. And hands down. So this is moving on to the magnetic field. Hands up, palms facing forward, looking ahead or up depending on your capacity, and breathing out, bend your knees, hands down, touching either the floor or your shins. Press your feet into the ground as you breathe in, come up and hands up again. So it's a cleansing of the magnetic field, breathing out. They're called miracle bends in Kundalini Yoga. In a Kundalini practice, you would go considerably faster, but that could make you dizzy. So this is a very gentle in and out. And then in and out. And then in and out. In and out. And then for the last few, you can speed up entirely to how you feel comfortable, keeping the same pace or going a lot faster. In, out. Bending your knees protects your back. If this isn't suiting you, then just slow down. And then last time coming up and releasing your hands. Bringing your hands to the center of your heart and then coming down to sit on the mat. Feet out in front of you. As we start to move the joints at the lower leg and foot level. So you might like to just pull the flesh out from underneath your bottom. Just bounce your legs. Classic Dandasana has your fingers in front, but we're quite relaxed here, so whatever works for you. And then toes of the feet up towards the ceiling and breathing out toes away from you. Breathing in toes up and breathing out toes away. Breathing in toes up, breathing out toes away. And then circle the ankles in one direction. And then circle the ankles in the other direction. And then stretch the toes out and curl them in or relax them. I leave that to you. You don't want to give yourself cramp. Stretching the toes out stretches out the area where the toes join the feet, and that's where your lung meridians are represented on your feet in reflexology. And then both toes both to the left, and then big toes and your entire foot goes to the right. So you're almost windscreen wiping your feet from side to side. And it moves your ankle bone in a slightly, or your muscles around your ankle in a slightly different way as you go almost for an evert and an invert action here. And then bring your feet to the centre. And this is an interesting one. Open your toes out and just bring your bunions, your big bones, your big toe bones together, so it's in, out. I'm just almost banging my bones together. It sets up a vibration. Again, it's a Kundalini movement, but the vibration in your feet resonates through your entire body. So it sets up a wave of energy. It's not sound therapy, but sound therapy does do a similar thing in that it sets up a vibration in the body, and the sound can kind of permeate through various layers. And this it's not dissimilar. And again, for boosting the energy and the immune system and circulation, it's just getting your feet active. And then just slow the bouncing down. And before we come to lying, just bounce your legs again, and optionally just either rub your legs or pat your legs, or a combination of both. Again, it's getting the circulation moving. You can pat right down to your feet, The inside of your ankle bones, the outside. Same with your legs, either side of your knee, your thigh, your hips. That pattern can go all over your body. It can go to your arms as well, your chest, lower back. It just stimulates, moves the energy. And then just rubbing your legs maybe, the shins. And come to bending your knees. Just lift your feet off the ground, holding your knees. I'm holding mine at the front, but you can hold behind the knees. And just check that your backbone is straight rather than leaning back, which will engage your core. And then just bring your feet to the ground and come to lying. Knees bent, feet hip width apart. Hands either palms down on the floor or resting on your abdomen. And your feet can even be wider than hip width apart. As you let both knees drift to one side, I'm going to the right, my left hip's lifting. Knees come back to the centre and both knees drift over to the left. Just let the knees drift like a windscreen wiper action from side to side. And then you can bring your head in to the movement as well. So as your knees go to the left, your head might turn to the right. Bring your knees and your head back to the centre and let the knees go over to the left. And from side to side, I got that muddled up. Just a gentle swaying of the knees and the head moves as well. Just bring your feet to the centre and your head to the centre. And consciously think of initiating the movement of your knees from your feet. So slightly press your feet into the ground to let your knees drift from side to side. And now, making the same movement, but thinking about initiating the movement from your knees. It's isolating through visualization different muscles. Don't worry if you... It's difficult to fine-tune those muscles. And now you can initiate the movement from your hips. You're moving your hips and focusing as you move from side to side, your knees naturally follow. And then bring everything back to centre and hug your left knee into your chest. It's a variation on Apanasana, the Apana energy, the foundational energy. And just circle your left knee a few times in one direction. So we're moving the hip joint here, or the leg and the hip socket. And then circle your knee in the other direction. And I mentioned with the equinox, the changes of season, everything can get stagnated, everything's moving, so the joints can be affected. So dropping your hands behind your left thigh, clasping your hands together, just let your knee come forward a little bit and then just swing your foot so that your lower knee, your lower foot swings up and down and your knee is getting a movement in the joint. And then gently place your left foot on the ground and transfer your attention to your right side as you hug your right knee into the chest. Your Apanasana on the right side. Just circle your right knee in one direction. And then very gently circle your right knee in the other direction. And then clasping your right under your right thigh, just bring your knee slightly forward and just bounce the knee, bounce your lower leg up and down so that you're getting movement in your knee joint. And then just softly let your right foot explore coming down to the ground. And from here, cross your left leg over your right, tummy in, engage your perineum, lift your right foot off the floor and slide your hands down your legs so that your right hand holds your left ankle just above it and your left hand holds your right leg, your lower leg, just above the ankle. Both knees will come into the chest, your head is central, and you'll feel that stretch in your outer hips. Just take an in and an out breath. Release both feet to the ground and uncross your left leg, placing your left foot back onto the floor. Just sway your knees from side to side a little bit. And then cross your right leg over your left. Lift the left foot off the floor, tummy in, and then slide your hands down your shins. And you'll feel this stretch in your outer thighs. I'm feeling this particularly in my outer right thigh. You're also opening space up at the base of your spine. You're creating space at the base of your spine. So it's quite releasing for the lower back, providing you can cross your legs. You'd be surprised at how many people can't, but crossing your legs and then just bringing your knees in is opening at the lower back, if you can manage that. And then very, very gently release, let both feet come, the left foot come to the ground and unravel your right foot off, both feet on the ground, both knees up, as you sway from side to side with your knees. Hug both knees into the chest, and with the knees hugged into the chest and holding your knees, sway from side to side. And then hugging your knees into your chest, let your knees drift away to arm's length. Hug your knees into your chest and let your knees drift away to arm's length. Hug your knees into your chest and let them drift away to arm's length. Once more, hug your knees into your chest and let them drift away to arm's length. And then, however you want to come up to kneeling on all fours, you might like to roll to the right away from your heart and come up gently in your own time to come onto your hands and knees. Or you might like to gently rock up, hands underneath your thighs, or just rocking up, however it works for you. But take your time to come to seated position and then come to kneeling on your hands and knees in tabletop. Hands hip width apart, knees, hands shoulders width apart, knees hip width apart. Dip your back in classic cat, looking either up or along the mat, depending on where your neck is or your capacity, and breathing out round your back in cow. So we're going to start dipping the back, cat, rounding the back, cow. And then tucking the toes, bringing your bottom back towards your heels, stretching out a little bit. And coming forward into a neutral position as you tuck your toes are still tucked, coming up into a downward dog, stretching your legs, walking the dog by bending one knee and then the other knee. You can sway your hips while you're doing this. Bend both knees back down to the ground. Untuck your toes, bottom to the heels, stretching out. Slide your hands to your knees as you kneel up, hands up as you stretch your hands up, looking either straight ahead or up, Breathing out, bring your hands to the ground in tabletop, sliding them out to a comfortable position, dipping your back, cat, rounding your back, cow, tucking your toes, coming into a soft dog, walking the dog, bending one knee and then the other, and feel free to make any adjustments with your feet if you need to. And then bending both knees back down to the earth. Tucking your toes, although you don't have to, bringing your bottom towards your heels, stretching out an extended child's pose. Sliding your hands towards your knees as you kneel up, hands up, stretching your fingers, either looking ahead or up. Breathing out, bringing your hands to the mat. Sliding them out until you're comfortably in tabletop, and then breathing in as you dip your back in cat, round your back in cow, tuck your toes, come into dog, walk the dog by bending one knee and then the other knee. Bring both knees to the ground. Untuck your feet as an option. Bring your bottom towards your heels, stretching out. Slide your hands to your knees. Hands up to the ceiling. Lower your hands back down to the earth in tabletop, sliding them out till you're comfortable. Dipping your back in cat. Rounding your back, cow. Tap your toes. Coming into downward dog. Bend your knees back down to the ground. Untuck your toes as an option. Bottom towards the heels. Just stay here for an in and an out breath. Come onto your elbows so that your bottom comes up slightly. And just slide your hands forward. Your head may come to the ground. It's a form of puppy pose. Your elbows, if you extend them away from the ground, it's a strong stretch. And you might like to come up onto your right fingertips. So that stretches you more on the right side. And then release your fingertips and bring your right elbow to the ground. And you might like to come onto your left fingertips, stretching your left arm up, stretching your left side, and then slide your fingers back and bring your elbow to the ground. Those are all options on the variations. And then very gently slide your hands back to come up to tabletop, and then just bring your bottom to the side to come into a cross-legged position. And once more, just rest your hands on your knees. You can have your thumb towards your second finger in a Dhyana Mudra, hands down or hands up, but optional. Turn your head to the left as you breathe in. Turn your head to the right as you breathe out. In to the left, out to the right. In to the left, out to the right. In, left, and bringing out, turn your head to the right. Come back to the centre. Take either hand, doesn't matter which. With the fingers, I'm using my third and fourth fingers, but you can use whichever fingers you want. Just make a circle in one direction. I'm going anti-clockwise on your forehead, your third eye, the nod to your third eye. Very soothing. And then reverse your circle, your direction. How many times you massage yourself can depend on your dosha. But as we don't know what our dosha is, or we're just covering everyone, we're just doing an average of a few times each side. 3, 5, or 7, we'll go for about 5. And then just place the hands down onto the knees. And just take a moment, focusing at the third eye, to make a wish for the day, set your intention. It can be for you or for somebody else. And then just let that intention drift away. It's been set for the day. And then just very gently bring your chin to your chest, your hands to your heart, taking a bow for yourself to have a very lovely day ahead. And thank you for joining me today.